2026. I'm going to call to order the State of Rhode Island Coastal Resources Management Council Rights of Way Subcommittee to order. Tonight's hearing is in relation to the Spring Avenue extension. It's in the matter of file number 2020-11-084. I would ask that the record reflect the subcommittee members that are present here this evening on behalf of CRMC, as well as our staff members. And as requested by our stenographer, I would ask if the attorneys could identify themselves and the parties they are representing, please. Before that, we'll probably plan to take a break at 7 o'clock unless the stenographer needs one prior to that. You just let me know. And I think our game plan is to go as close to 9 o'clock as possible. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, William Conley for the town of Westerly. If I could address that housekeeping matter on the timing. So we had communicated on Friday to determine, the end time, and we had received a communication that the meeting would conclude at 8 o'clock. We can go to 9. I joke, but the reason I want to bring that to your attention is that we had initially planned on 3 witnesses, and then we determined that by 8 o'clock that we didn't want to bring that 3rd witness this evening. So as a consequence, we have 2 witnesses tonight as opposed to 3. And that may very well take us to 9 o'clock, but I wanted to explain in case it doesn't get us quite to 9 o'clock why that happened.
That's fine. We just wanted to afford the parties an opportunity to get as much time as we can. All right, if we could, just for the stenographer's benefit, possibly starting to my left, have attorneys rise, identify themselves and the parties that they represent.
Julia Harvey for the Office of the Attorney General.
Sarah O'Toole for the town of Westerly.
William Conley for the town of Westerly.
Michael Rubin for intervener Caroline Contrata.
For the Office of the Attorney General.
Joseph Farside for the Weekapaug Fire District.
Randall Lear Lungini from the Weekapaug Fire District.
Joseph Mann, Fire District.
Okay. I believe last time we were here, March 9, 2026, we ended with Alfred Diorio on the stand. And I think at this point, we'll recall him if that's the intent. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, absolutely. I apologize for interrupting again.
It's not a problem.
So with permission of the fire district, one of our lay witnesses, Mr. Paul Iemma, is here this evening. And with their consent, we are requesting that we be allowed to interrupt the testimony of Mr. Diorio in order for Mr. Iemma to testify, and that the conclusion of his testimony will put Mr. Diorio back on the stand. With your permission.
That's fine.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Curtis.
Sure.
All right.
You may proceed.
Mr. Iemma. Top of the court, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Always works when during the important.
Mr. Ian, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Swear you in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
Sure. Paul Iemma, last name is spelled I-E-M-M-A.
Thank you, Mr. Iemma.
Good evening, Mr. Iemma. My name is William Conley. I represent the town of Westerly in this matter. And you have participated in a deposition in this matter already, right?
Correct.
I'm just going to review with you a few of the ground rules that you went through at the deposition, just for the sake of clarity for you. I'm going to be asking you some questions, and as you can see, we have a stenographer present. So I'm going to ask you to allow me to finish my question before you begin answering, so that we're not talking over each other in any of our sentences. Is that okay?
Fair enough.
Okay, I appreciate it. So I'm going to start with some basics, if I may, Mr. Iamma. Where do you live?
Live in Pasco, Rhode
Yeah.
Island,
And what's your address there in Pasco?
225 Donahue Road.
Are you currently employed?
I'm retired, but I work part-time.
Okay. What do you do part-time?
I work at a golf course in Franklin, Mass.
All right, good. And prior to being in semi-retirement, what were you doing?
My career spanned 46 years. I started with IBM back in '69. I'll fast forward to the final job. We were selling back-end financials to large financial institutions. The company I was working for, we literally, this will surprise a lot of people, but we invented mobile banking. Okay, there was no mobile banking. There were no apps. There was nothing. We were a little tiny company in Sausalito, California, and we invented mobile banking. And the upside was the company was phenomenally successful. The downside was Fidelity bought us. So went from a 70-person company to a 37,000-person company.
That's what happens to success, you know.
Indeed.
Yeah, okay. And how old are you? What's your
78.
78 years old. So are you familiar with a place called Weekapaug in Westerly, Rhode Island?
Yes.
And how is it that you're familiar with Weekapaug?
I was a very avid surf fisherman and fished Weekapaug for many years.
So when you say you fished there for many years, what would you suggest to the committee for how many years you were fishing there in Weekapaug?
Started in Weekapaug probably around 81, 82. And I fished it up until 2004, at which point my knees decided they couldn't handle jumping rocks anymore. So I bought a boat. And it was a lot easier to fish out of the boat.
Okay. During that time period that you just described to the council, the committee, excuse me, during that time period, were you involved in any fishing groups or organizations?
I've always belonged to several different saltwater fishing groups, but as such, we never organized and went and fished one place as a group. We were part of a club. I'm a member of the Newport Saltwater Fishing Club now. I don't fish Newport, but I'm a member of that club, and it's a camaraderie thing.
Sure. Also, given your interest in fishing and saltwater fishing, have you ever published any articles related to your fishing?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, sir?
Sure. I've got articles that are published in Coastal Angler, On the Water, and several articles in the Fisherman New England edition. These articles actually were stories about fishing on Block Island, fishing on the Cape, fishing the canal, and none from Weekapaug, however.
Okay. Well, tonight's going to be a chance to tell that story. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Now, how did it come to your attention that you started fishing in Weekapaug?
Well, okay, so we would have to kind of frame a picture of how surf fishermen go about fishing certain areas. So you fish certain areas in the surf. First of all, let me define surf fishing.
Okay.
The way myself and the few guys that I fished with, we were hunters. Okay, we were not walk around with the white bucket and throw a piece of bait out there. Okay, we hit the water depending on the tide, the wind, the moon, etc. we would get into the water at midnight to 1 in the morning, and we would fish up to what we called false dawn. The reason for that is because stripers are nocturnal, and bait tends to flush into the shoreline in the rocks, and the stripers come in after the bait. So Weekapaug got on our radar screen because of, and everybody here knows when I mention this, Quaney, okay? Quanakatog, the pond, there is a hatch of mullet that flush out of there. You can set your calendar by it. September 15th, within a day or two, the mullet come out. They've done spawning, they come out and they come down the shoreline. So what happens is, Quaney is here to the east. The bait comes down the shoreline, and the first thing they hit is Weekapaug Point. And the bait gets into the rocks, and the bass follow them in there. That's the reason we fish that area.
And just remind me when you said you started fishing there?
81, 82.
Thank you. Now, you talked about the camaraderie of fishing, and you talked about, just explain to me, what brought you to, particularly to Weekapaug to fish. Were there others who fished with you? Were you a lone hunter, or did you hunt in a group?
No, I always had a partner, but we never fished more than 3 guys, usually 2. It was usually 2.
Okay. Now, did you go to a beach area in Weekapaug? Where did you fish in Weekapaug?
We fished the point, the rocks. The bait goes into the rocks. The bait's not going to be running up and down the beach. There's no cover for them, so they're liable to get eaten. They go into the rocks because they can find microbes to feed on, and at the same time, you got bubbleweed in there. They feel safe, and the bass come in after them, but the bait feels safer in the rocks than they would on the exposed beach.
Okay. So when you refer to Weekapaug Point, do I understand your testimony to be that it was a rocks that you fished off of?
No, we fished in them.
In them. Okay.
In them, okay? So if any of you guys and ladies know what the reef looks like, there's a bazillion rocks, and it goes out way out. Actually, it goes out much further than you realize. We would get in the water, wade in between the rocks, and get ourselves, so we were comfortable and not get killed by waves. And that point, we would fish that point from one end all the way around. It ducks into a cove, and that area was always known to us as the Fenway. But basically, we stayed. The bait and the fishing was always the best on Weekapaug Point.
Now, how did you access the rocks? In other words, was it adjacent to a beach?
Yeah, we'd walk in.
Yeah.
We'd walk in and walk over to the point, the rocks.
And what was the beach area that you accessed? Did you have a name for it?
I believe it was called the Fire Beach.
Do you have any idea why you called it the Fire Beach?
I do not know,
Okay.
actually.
And that rocky area that you just described to us, did you have a name for that?
No, we just called it the reef, Weekapaug Reef.
Okay. All right. Now, you said that you did surf casting from the rocks from this reef.
Yes,
Do I understand that correctly?
yes.
Okay. And can you describe the gear that you would use to go surf casting when you were in those rocks, and what your attire was like? Could you describe that to me, please?
Sure. We can go back to ancient history and talk about wearing gray lights, which were old rubber waders. That transitioned to neoprene waders. And then toward the end of my tenure in the surf, we were fishing ultralight waders. because we're on rocks and wading through the rocks, wore studded boots. Some of the guys bought sandals, which were called corkers, Korkers. Some of the guys had boots, as I do, where they're metal studs that are replaceable on the bottom. So we had waders on, we had boots with metal studs on the bottom. In that area, we normally would be fishing a 10-foot rod and a high-level Van Staal reel. Van Staal reels are waterproof. We're getting wet all the time. We're wading out on the reef. So we're standing waist deep in the water. The reels and all our gear are getting beat up by the waves. So you wanted equipment that could stand that type of fishing.
So you had to get out to the rocks with all that gear and all that equipment.
Yes, sir.
Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, sir.
I just want to go back to that timing that you told me about when you started fishing out there. If I referenced what was known around Allen as the John Chafee moratorium, would that mean anything to you?
Yeah, sure.
What does that mean to you?
Well, what happened was, again, somewhat sidebar. What happened was there was a huge commercial rod and reel commercial business, so to speak. Bass were commanding an enormous amount of money for the time, $2 a pound hanging weight. So this was late 70s. If you got a 40-pound fish, you had $80 in your pocket. 1972, 73 money, that was big money. Chafee got involved because there were no more big fish. After 73, 74, the commercial rod and reel guys had literally killed all the big fish. You could find a school fish every now and then, but basically we were catching bluefish, that yellow-eyed devils. That's all we could catch. There were no stripers. Chafee got involved and passed a bill that declared a moratorium, and it was called a moratorium. And the moratorium went no catching. If you catch a striper, you released it. No keeping, no commercial sales, etc. The moratorium extended into 81, 82, 83, that period of time, at which point in time the stocks started to resurrect themselves somewhat, and we went to 1 36-inch fish a day. And then subsequently they came back, and a couple of years later we went to 1 34-inch fish, and now it's berserk. It's like 228, so 120, 128.
So even though there was a point in time, there was this moratorium that wasn't lifted until later in the 80s.
That's correct.
You were still accessing this area for fishing, and you were catching blues at that time.
Correct.
Okay. Good. Now, you just explained something to me about the migration of fish and why you were attracted to this area. What months did you go fishing on these Weekapaug rocks?
Our concentration of fishing in that area was full. So late August, and we would fish that. I can remember being wading into the rocks in a snowstorm in December because there was still bait around. So we fished from early September all the way up to the end of the year.
And you thought that going out in the rocks in a snowstorm at night was a good idea?
Well, at the time, it seemed like a good idea.
Okay. How many times, if you had to tell the panel over those period of years during those months where you would, walk out to those rocks with all that gear, how many times over that period of time would you say you did?
Hundreds.
Excuse me, sir?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
We were really avid. It's kind of hard to explain how avid there was a group of surf fishermen, and we weren't killing anything. We would all catch and release, but it was the challenge of trying to hang a 50-pound fish in the surf or a 45-pound fish in the surf.
So from that fall through that December time period, on any particular year, how many times would you go out there and access those rocks?
Well, a couple of times a week, maybe 8, 10 times a month for 3 months. So 30 times every fall.
If I understand your testimony correctly, you're explaining to me that you did it at night because of that migration and nocturnal habit that you described. How did you find your way around there at night?
You can find your way around. We always wore 2 lights in case one died.
Yeah.
And in the morning when it got light, you take a look at how the water was running. You get a feel for the way the waves of, you almost become part of the ocean when you're in it as much as we were, and fishing. And let's face it, you're right on the edge of killing yourself. Okay, one wrong step, your weight is filled with water, you drown. So we were very cautious about what we did. We were very smart about what we did, and we knew where we were fishing and where we were going.
And you say that's because there were others just like you who were accessing those rocks on those fishing occasions for all those months for all those years. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
Now, you said at some point your knees told you not to go out there anymore. Is that right?
Right.
And do you remember on or about when your knees told you to stop going?
2004.
Okay. Is there a way you remember that 2004 was the year?
Yeah, because I bought my boat that year.
Okay, all right. Now, you used as a reference point earlier in explaining to me what attracted you to the Weekapaug. You used the reference point, the Quaney Pond, to explain how the bait would come out on the rocks. So can you give me a description of, from Quaney Pond to where you were fishing off those rocks? Can you describe that area to the committee, please?
Sure. From Quaney Pond dumps out of a breachway. You guys all know what a breachway is, but there's both sides of the flowage from the pond comes out. And from Quaney Pond, from when it comes around the west wall, so to speak, it's a crescent-shaped beach, and that runs all the way down until it hits the Weekapaug Reef.
Okay. And that crescent-shaped beach that you just described for us, that's the one you referred to. You called it Fire Beach?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I want to ask some questions about how you get on to Fire Beach, okay?
Okay.
All right. So how would you get to Weekapaug?
Well, we drive,
Yeah, right.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we'd park. When we first started fishing that, I know there's a boardwalk there now. I think it's pressure treated lumber, but when we first started fishing there wasn't even a boardwalk. But we would park to the west of where that trail went in, because there was another trail which was dramatically closer to the Weekapaug Point.
Okay. So when you first started there, you noted there were 2 trails?
Correct.
And one of the trails you just identified for us as where there is a boardwalk now?
Correct.
And how do you know that one of the trails is where the boardwalk is now?
Just from seeing it.
Okay. Now, you said there was another trail.
Correct.
Where was this other trail in relation to that boardwalk?
The other trail was to the west of the boardwalk trail, and there was room to park probably 6 cars, maybe straight in. And then there was this trail that went and came out almost right at Weekapog Point. And we would traverse that trail, because we're carrying a ton of, and in addition to the waders and 10-foot rod, we also had dry tops on. We were belted off. We had pliers on our hips. We're carrying about 40 pounds of gear, 50 pounds of gear. If we could save 200 yards of walking in the sand, carrying all that gear, we'd do it in a heartbeat. So this other trail would bring us in a little sharp. Once you get on the beach, it was a little sharp turn to the right, and you were there. You were right on the rocks.
Okay. You explained that you and the others you were fishing with would arrive and park your cars in a certain place. Can you describe to the committee where that place is in relation to that path, that trail that you just described to me?
Okay, so we would be parking to the east of that trail. Not dramatically east, but so the trail was here, we would be parked next to it. There was room for 4 to 6 cars.
And so if you, in terms of, as you said, you could save a few steps, save a little bit of distance. What was the distance from where you could park your car to access that trail onto the beach?
Oh, it was right there. It was right there.
So you were parking almost right at the trailhead.
Exactly.
Okay, I understand. When you had those many occasions to go there, is that where you parked, and is that how you access the beach and then the rocks?
Yes, sir.
And while you were doing it, did any of your fellow surf fishers that you told us about, did they also park in the same place, and did they also access the beach through that same trail?
Yes.
As you've described to us where you parked and your access to the trail, is there anything else about that particular place, the immediate surroundings, that would assist the committee in understanding exactly where you were, with any landmarks or anything like that in your mind?
Okay, so it was a trail, not as wide as the trail would be at where the boardwalk is now. Probably wide enough to walk single file down it. There was on the right-hand side a bunch of rose hips and poison ivy and poison sumac and brush growing in there, and interwoven with that, there was an old chain link fence that was in the briars, and it was all rusted below to hell. But the trail was always a straight shot. We were on the beach in 3 minutes.
Okay. And so you've just sort of described, if I'm understanding you correctly, the sandy trail had that sea type of vegetation around it.
Yes.
How long was the sandy? Is it a sandy trail, by the way?
It's a sandy trail.
Yeah.
How long? 50 yards.
Okay. Did I understand you to mention something about a chain link fence just now?
Yes.
So how did you access it with a chain link fence?
No, the chain link fence. So the trail was here. The chain link fence was on the side of the trail. Okay. And it was all overgrown. There was nothing impeding on getting through the trail.
Okay. So the chain link fence was to the side of the trail.
Yes.
And you say overgrown, does that mean it was covered with what you just described to us as the vegetation?
Correct.
Okay. So as you're facing the sandy path, you get out of your truck and you're facing the sandy path. Now you've given us east and west directions. Thank you. It's very helpful. But as you're facing that 50-foot sandy path to the beach, let's agree that the beach is down that end of the room. Okay? We're walking down that path to get to the beach. What side is chain link fence on?
Would be on your left-hand side, the east side of the trail.
Okay. And when we get on that path and we've got all our gear on, right?
Yep.
And we can, you and I, we can access that path all the way to the beach from where you're parked with all our gear on, right?
Yep.
Other than the chain link fence to the left and some of this vegetation that's there, nothing was obstructing us from using that sandy path down to the beach, right?
That is correct.
Now, you were accessing that path a lot of years, right?
Yes.
During the time that you were using the path, when we'd get out of our truck, we put our gear on, we want to get down to the beach and to the rocks. Over the years, did that path change at all?
I can't definitively say that it did or didn't. It was always, when we were walking in there, it was just a path and we were going fishing. So we didn't pay a heck of a lot of attention to the path and what was the gestation of the path.
Yeah.
There was all of the brush on the east side of it. On the left side of it, there was a house, and the house had some grass, but mostly sand.
Do you know what that house looked like?
It was one of those gambrel, the typical Weekapog houses with the weathered shingles,
Yeah.
gambrel roof.
I went to law school because I couldn't do much of anything else with roofs and construction. Can you tell me what a gambrel roof is, sir?
Anybody out there? I can't explain it, but it's, well, it kind of comes like this and then it comes down like this.
Okay, all right. Now, you have your nocturnal fishing, right?
Yep.
If you way down this end of the beach, finish, come back. And now I want to get back to my truck at the end of the path. Okay?
Yeah.
Did you take the same path back?
We did.
Right, so you use that path coming and going, use the same path when you went back to your truck, all your gear.
Yes.
During those many years that we're using it with you and your fellow hunters, did you have any understanding of why you could use that path?
Protection Foundation.
I'm just asking. What? I'm sorry.
Would you like to respond to the?
Yes, if I may. Yeah, I'm asking what his. I mean, I got plenty of foundation. He walked up and down that path hundreds of times. He's described it in great detail. He's described what the path is like. He's described what the surroundings are. He's described what brought his attention to the path. He described what he did on the path. That's about as much foundation as you can possibly create.
Mr. Farzad?
Forgive me, I can't remember what the question was. Can you read it back for us? Thank you.
Question, during those many years that you were using it, were you and your fellow hunters, did you have any understanding of why you could use that path?
Yeah, the lack of foundation is that the witness hasn't been asked whether he had an understanding to begin with about whether he could use it or not.
That's the question.
The witness can go ahead and answer.
Uh, so let me frame the question back. Can I do that?
Sure. So I'm sure you do it better than I did. Go ahead.
Okay, so you're asking me if we had permission? Is that where we're going with that question? Is that correct?
No, but I'm not asking that question, but if that's how you understand it, just answer as
Okay.
best you can.
That's not the way it was. Okay, you've got to compartmentalize two different time periods. Okay, we were the wild cowboys at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was stopping us from going anywhere. Nobody was up to stop us from going anywhere. We'd get out of there right at what we called false dawn, which is like an hour before sunrise. We never asked anybody permission to use that trail because there was never no one there to ask. Now, keep in mind, folks, we're in there October, November. These guys have all headed back to New York. Those are summer houses. There's nobody there anyways. So did we have permission? I guess we did. Nobody ever said you can't walk there. And we did it for years and years and years.
When you use permission in that sense, Mr. Iamma, do you mean that you thought that you had to get permission from somebody or that you could just use it anytime you wanted?
We emphatically felt like we could use it anytime we wanted.
Without specific permission from anybody, right?
Correct. I can think, just as a sidebar,
Yes, sir.
I can only think of one place in all of the coast, Watch Hill accepted, where we had to get permission to fish, and that's the Dunes Club. To get to Narrow River, you needed to get permission from the Dunes Club to park in the back of their club, to walk down the beach and fish Narrow River. But other than that, I mean, we crawled around the fence at Point Judith in front of the Coast Guard house. The Coasties, now that was supposed to be off limits, right? The Coasties had come down and said, hey, get a fish, drop a fish off for us.
So I just want to ask you some follow-up questions on what you just described to me as using that path all that time with your other fellow hunters. Over those years, how many other fellow hunters used that pathway, excuse me, that trail? You called it a trail. I'm sorry, I'm saying that trail. How many others used it that you know of? Not asking you to guess on how often it was used, just through your usage of it. How many others would you say?
Probably 6 guys. Okay, because we were pretty well exclusive about who we fished with. Obviously, going back to what I was saying about you're one step from death. So, you wanted guys you could trust with you.
Yeah.
Half a dozen guys at the most.
Okay. And either you or any of those half dozen other guys, anybody ever tell you that you couldn't use that path to get to that beach and the rocks?
No, sir.
So do I understand your testimony to be? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I want you to correct me if I'm wrong.
Understood.
Please. All right. You did not need express permission from anybody or any entity in order to use that trail.
That is correct.
May I just have a moment, please, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
It's everything my fault. Ms. Iama, could I just ask you a follow-up question that I can probably ask a better question on than I did earlier?
Certainly.
Thank you. I was wanted to understand how you access the path, so I wanted to face you in your direction and, you know, talk about accessing the path now to be this way. And I also asked you some questions about how I kind of pivoted, turned around, and wanted to make sure that you explained you had access coming down the path the other way too. Remember those series of questions?
Yes.
So if we're standing at the top of the path,
Yes.
and you described the house with the gambrel roof. Where would that house be in relation to where I'm standing at the top of the path?
Inside of that beam. If you looked at that beam,
Yes, sir.
the house would be here.
Okay.
Okay, the house was, you know, fairly close, reasonably close to the path.
Thank you. And apropos of nothing here, I understand that you served our country in the Vietnam War.
Yes,
Thank you for your service, Mr. Iama.
you're welcome.
No further questions.
Hi again, Mr. Iama. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you
And
again.
we thank you for your service as well.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, as a matter of housekeeping, we may have a couple of images to show you, but we'll pass those out when the time comes.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to remain seated, Mr. Chairman, so I can speak into the microphone.
Is the microphone on? Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Iama. Do you remember being deposed on September 9th, 2025?
Indeed.
And you spoke to Attorney Mike Rubin before you were deposed on that date, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you met with him in person, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, he showed you approximately 3 maps or photographs of the area where Spring Avenue Extension is located near Weekapaug Point. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Since your deposition on September 9th, 2025 and today, have you discussed this case any further with Attorney Rubin?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
And when was that?
Oh, I don't.
If you could guess which month that occurred in, could you tell us?
Beginning of March, perhaps.
And do you remember what you discussed with Mr. Rubin at that meeting?
It was just a general rehashing of what we had gone through before and what was covered in the deposition.
And by rehashing, did he show you any additional pictures or any photographs or maps of any kind during that meeting?
Not that I hadn't seen before.
But he did show you maps or photographs during that March meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you and Mr. Rubin discuss about the testimony you were, well, let me rephrase that. Did you and Mr. Rubin discuss the testimony you were going to give tonight?
No.
And what did you and Mr. Rubin discuss?
We talked about basically just a rehashing of everything that went into the deposition. We talked a little bit about the maps, the pictures that he had shown me. Nothing, we didn't get any more granular than we had in the deposition.
Did he show you any of the maps you had drawn on during your deposition?
No.
Since your deposition on September 9, 2025 and today, have you discussed this case at all with Attorney Conley?
Yes.
And when How often did that occur?
once.
And when did that occur?
3 weeks ago, perhaps.
And was that over the phone or in person?
It was in a Zoom meeting.
And who else was present in the Zoom meeting? Anyone?
Sarah,
Okay. So Ms. O'Toole and Attorney Conley, Attorney O'Toole and Attorney Conley were present in a Zoom meeting with yourself and no one else, correct?
correct.
And how long did that Zoom meeting last?
Less than an hour.
And did you discuss your testimony tonight during that Zoom meeting?
We did.
Okay, and what did you discuss about your testimony?
What I was going to reiterate that I professed in the deposition.
And so you were going to reiterate that you walked on the sandy trail, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And over the course of that hour, did you discuss anything beyond your use of the sandy trail?
No.
Did you discuss?
Well,
Please.
yeah, we talked about fishing. And I went into detail as I did previously about the mullet coming down the shoreline and explained to Bill why we were in there, because he was curious, why are we going to this one spot? Why are we, and he asked those questions with what. So we did talk about that, and I explained to him why.
And did you have any discussions with Attorney Conley and Attorney O'Toole about your use of the Weekapaug Boardwalk to access the fire beach?
If anything, the question was asked, why weren't you using the boardwalk? And my answer was, I'm wearing 50 pounds of gear. If I can avoid a 100-yard walk, I'm going to do it. And that's why we took the trail rather than going in where the boardwalk exists now.
But you did in fact use the boardwalk from time to time, correct?
No.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Okay, so before today's deposition, you spoke with Mr. Rubin. I'm sorry, before today's testimony and after your deposition on September 9th, 2025, you discussed your testimony with Attorney Rubin and with Attorney Conley and Attorney O'Toole, correct?
Correct.
Did you discuss anything with the Rhode Island Attorney General's office after your deposition on September 9th, 2025?
No.
Since your deposition, did you talk to anyone else about the testimony you gave at your deposition and will give today?
No.
Now, you did not start fishing, just to clarify the timeline. You did not start fishing at the beach you call the Fire Beach until 1982 or 1983, correct?
Correct.
You never fished there in the 1970s, for example, correct?
I did not.
And your fishing at that beach occurred from late August to December,
Correct.
not the earlier months, correct?
Restate that, please.
Withdrawn. Now, you're aware that at all relevant times, the fire district permitted use of its boardwalk path and the fire beach for fishing, except during 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. during beach season, Memorial Day to Labor Day, correct?
I can't say that truthfully. I'm not aware of the fire beach laws because they were not applicable. We didn't, it was, we're there at 2 a.m. I didn't care if they let people walk down the boardwalk at 9 a.m. We were never there in the daylight. So we would go in on the trail and fish. You got to compartmentalize what we were doing. Okay. It wasn't we're going on the beach with a cooler and an umbrella and we were going to sit there and have a grand old time. We were hunting fish. We were in the water for 3 or 4 hours. Then we were out of the water and we went home.
Okay, so let me, at your deposition in September of 2025, you were asked, Mr. Iema, are you aware that the fire district continues to permit fishermen or any members of the general public to use the fire beach 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, except for the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. during the beach season, which is approximately Memorial Day to Labor Day? There was an objection by Attorney O'Toole, and the answer was given, yeah, I'm aware of that. It was always that way. Is that consistent with your testimony that you just gave?
I believe so.
Okay. You felt you always had permission to be there, correct?
Correct.
And that was because no one ever told you that you didn't have such permission, correct?
Correct.
And you never fished at the fire beach between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., correct?
On my soul.
And you never knew anyone else who fished the fire beach between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., correct?
None of my friends did. But you know, in all honesty, the guys did that. And I talked about the white bucket guys. The white bucket guys go and they go to a bait stop and they buy 2 pounds of frozen squid and they take a sinker and a hook and they throw it out there and then they drink beer. That's not what we do.
I understand that, but you were never at Fire Beach fishing with the white bucket guys, correct?
No.
Now, back to the boardwalk. Sometimes when you visited Fire Beach, you would enter the beach using the fire district's boardwalk path, correct?
No, why would I want to walk on the boardwalk with all my gear to get to Weekapog Point when I could do it much quicker taking the trail?
Well, again, referencing your deposition at page 32, line 16, you were asked, and how would you access the beach once you parked there? The answer was given, sometimes we'd go in on the boardwalk. Sometimes we'd go in, well, for on the Spring Street extension. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, but we never, okay, that should have been restated. Did we go and stand on the boardwalk and look at the ocean? Yeah. Okay, did we go in to fish on the boardwalk? No.
Okay. Why would you go and stand on the boardwalk to look at the ocean?
What if you got 25-foot waves coming at you and you don't know that when you're in the parking lot?
Why wouldn't you do that from the trail, the sandy trail?
Because we would have all our gear on to go in on the sandy trail. So we would go on maybe on the boardwalk, take a look and see how the water was running, where the wind was coming from, then go back, suit up and go in.
And the boardwalk you said earlier was only about a 6-car distance from the sandy trail, correct?
That's correct.
So with each car being more or less 6 feet or so, you're talking about a 36 to 40-foot difference between the boardwalk entrance and the sandy trail entrance, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And 40 feet's not very far, correct?
But it's not linear. And you're trying to compare apples and oranges. If you took both of those walkways and went out on the beach, you would be 100 yards closer to the Weekapog Point than you would be if you went in on the boardwalk.
Now, you called during your deposition, you called the sandy path a quote, little trail. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And you said it was about 2 feet wide, correct?
Correct.
And it was not marked, correct?
That's correct.
No signs of any kind.
That's correct.
And you described it as somewhat overgrown, correct?
Correct.
And there was always, to your memory, a chain link fence there just to the left of the trail, right?
Correct.
Excuse me, just to the left or right? The trail.
Just to the left of the trail.
Left of the trail.
And the chain link fence was covered with growth like rose hips, vines, poison ivy, and the like, correct?
Correct.
And again, that would have been to the left of the trail that you described, right?
Left going in. That's correct.
Okay. And the trail itself was lined with seagrass, rose hips, poison ivy, poison sumac, tangles, and briars, correct?
Well, not in the middle of the trail, but on the sides of it, yes.
And the trail had a stone here or a stone there, correct?
Yes.
And there was a 5-foot high dune just to the east or to the left of this little trail, correct?
Sometimes.
Now, you never personally saw anybody use that little trail during daylight hours, correct?
Correct. But I was never there in the daylight.
Correct. You certainly never use it during daylight.
No.
I have execs taking it up to the subcommittee. Please bear with me. I'm handing a binder of exhibits to the proponents. And I'm going to hand one copy to each of the, well, I'll ask Mark to hand one copy to each of the subcommittee members. 1, 2, 3. These can go into your binders that you brought with you for that were from the fire district from the last hearing. Mark, you copy for you as well. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, reviewing the binder now that has just been provided to us all. I don't want to hold up the proceedings and go through all 20. And I know the explanation is that these are previously disclosed, and I understand that. But I don't want to waive any objections that I may have to any of these documents. For instance, what's labeled as direct exhibit number 1 is a document that I have objected to, and all the reasons are on the record as to why I've objected to it. I'm not going to go through them all, but I just want to understand that our agreement in proceeding in this way doesn't constitute a waiver on our part of any objections we may have to specific documents in the package.
That's absolutely right. So as these are presented to the witnesses, you have your opportunity to put your objections on the record. And to the extent that a exhibit that's in this binder isn't presented, you'll have an opportunity to object to those exhibits as well at the end of the hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Harper.
Okay, I'm going to approach, and I agree with Mr. Conley that we're taking exhibits one at a time during this proceeding. I'm going to approach the witness and hand the witness what's been marked District Exhibit 12.
I don't know.
I'll let the record reflect that exhibit marked District Exhibit 12 has not been stipulated to. It's an undated aerial photograph, and I intend to ask the witness some foundational questions about it. Mr. Ayema, just let me know once you're finished taking a look at the photograph.
Go ahead.
Do you recognize what this photograph contains?
Well, it's the general area of what we're discussing tonight.
And do you see a beach in this photograph?
I see the beach. Yes, sir.
I am going to object at this point. I know Council's going to ask some foundation questions, but it's the witness to be very specific about the time period that he used the Spring Avenue extension. And the witness just explained, and I'm looking at it, and Mr. Fawcett explained and looking at it, I agree with him, that it's undated. I think the preliminary foundation question needs to be whether or not this is even anywhere near the time period, or is it during the time period that this witness says that he used, because if we can establish the date that it relates to that specific time period, then this witness should not be used to kind of like vicariously authenticate something that he can't.
Mr. Sparks, I tend to agree with Mr. Conley there. Can we lay more foundation for this?
Sure, let's put, exhibit, you can put, Mr. Ayama, put exhibit 12 aside, the district's exhibit 12 aside for now. I'm going to hand up district exhibit 13, which has been stipulated to.
If you would, Mr. Parsa, would you just clarify as to which stipulated exhibit this is?
It's not a joint exhibit, Mr. Hartman, it's stipulated to.
Yeah,
Okay, understood.
that's what it's gonna be. This is not a joint exhibit. And we're not stipulating it to have this witness testify about it. And I have the same objection in that in the top left-hand corner, it says the 1974 Krabach collection, Krabach, which isn't anywhere near the time period that this witness has said he's familiar with the area.
Yeah, so we don't have the luxury of having an aerial photograph from every time period that the witness, from the very time period the witness visited the site, and obviously limited to 1982 to 2004. We have aerial photographs that have stipulated to, this is one of them. It's stipulated, and therefore it can be used during cross-examination of a witness who claims to have used this area to access the beach. It's probative, it's relevant, it's got a date on it. And if counsel wants to ask some questions on redirect, he's certainly welcome to. But the witness was shown this document at his deposition and was able to testify about it then. I don't see any reason why he can't do so tonight.
Deposition is one thing, the actual hearing is another. The rules at deposition are much more liberal than they are in actual hearing. Through all the rules at a deposition are anything that could possibly lead to relevant evidence. So that the fact that something was used at a deposition does not make it admissible at a hearing on the merits. And I renew my objection that this witness has been very specific about the time period. Essentially, I understand by Mr. Farside's representation that we're conceding that this isn't anywhere near the time period that this witness was familiar with the area. So I have no interest in asking follow-up questions on a map that has nothing to do with the witness's testimony.
It was stipulated. Time for objection has passed.
The stipulation does not mean that it's stipulated for all purposes and for all meanings. We just acknowledge the date of the exhibit. We acknowledge that what it reports to be, but not as to this witness.
Yeah, that there was never any reservation made on the stipulation.
Well, I'm making it now.
It's a little late. We stipulated to exhibits as well, and it was always to be able to be used.
No, there's no such thing as a blanket. You can use it for anything you want, anytime you want, for any purpose that you want. It has to make some sense in the presentation of the testimony. And an exhibit from 1974 makes no sense from a witness who has just testified he wasn't even there in that time period.
So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to allow Mr. Farside to go forward. You'll have an opportunity to redirect on these particular issues. If there are objections on particular questions, we can raise them as we go along.
Thank you.
Mr. Ayama, do you have District Exhibit 13 in front of you?
I do.
Do you recognize what's in this photo?
Sure.
What do you see here?
Right, I see the Weekapaug Fire Beach. And Spring Road coming down. It would appear that, and I can't say definitively, but it appears that the boardwalk, if it existed at that point in time, is the line that's coming up from the building with the three. See what I'm referring to?
The building with the 3 white roofs
Yeah,
and the trail that you see that begins at that building and goes down or south until you get to the beach. That's your understanding of where the boardwalk path.
that's correct.
Okay. And you do not see evidence of a trail through Spring Avenue Extension on this photograph, correct?
I can't honestly say that I do. I mean, there's a line, if you look at where that house is and go to the right of that house, you can see a very definitive line that comes out from Spring.
And is that house the Gimbrel roofed house that you
Yes.
mentioned earlier?
I believe so, yes.
Now, do you remember being asked about this photograph at your deposition?
Mhm.
Yes. And when asked at your deposition, do you see evidence of a Spring Avenue extension path on this photograph? Your answer was, I do not. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay. Now going to approach and hand the witness District Exhibit 14. Sorry, Mr. Ayema, you can put 14 aside. I'm not actually going to ask you questions about 14. We're going to approach and hand the witness District Exhibit 16. District Exhibit 16 was also stipulated to. I fully expect Mr. Conley to renew his objection.
Well, I hate to disappoint, but this is 1985 on it, so this is during the time period which was actually there.
Now, do you remember looking at this 1985 photograph at your deposition back in September of 2025?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't believe it. This is the first time I'm seeing this photograph.
Do you recognize what's in this photograph?
Yeah, it's the point. Weekapaug Point,
The Weekapaug Point that you talked about earlier during your direct testimony, correct?
correct.
And do you see the bathhouses building, the Weekapaug bathhouse building in this photo?
I do. It's the building with the four white roofs.
4 like white lined roof that you see
Yes,
middle of the photograph, correct?
yes.
And can you see the boardwalk path emanating from that bathhouse building and traveling south until it reaches the beach?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now, you cannot see evidence of a definitive path over Spring Avenue Extension in this photograph, correct?
Correct.
Now, you don't know whether when you walked on the little trail, any part of it crossed over private property, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you frequently walked over people's backyards to get to fishing spots, correct?
Correct.
You would even estimate that happened every night, right?
Correct.
You even said you walked across yards belonging to others all the time at your deposition, didn't you?
We did, yes. But I think you're taking that out of context.
Well, that would have included yards where there was no right of way present, correct?
Well, the statement I made about walking through people's backyards was referencing specifically Quanticook. And if you go back, you'll see that I'm pretty sure that I said that in my statement. We walked through people's backyards in Quanticook.
Fortunately, we have the transcript so we can go back and see.
Okay,
The question on page 65 of your deposition, line 16, the question was asked by me, other than getting to Quanti, are there other instances where you walk across people's backyards? The answer was yes, yes. Okay, the follow-up question was, okay, how frequently would you say that happens when you're fishing? Answer, every night.
okay. Again, you can see I was referencing Quanti.
Now, you understand that walking across somebody's backyard without permission constitutes trespassing, correct?
Yes, sir.
I don't have anything further for the witness. Thank you, Mr. Ayala.
Mr. Conley?
Sure. Just going to ask you some follow-up questions about your felonious trespassing activity. Now, you would go through backyards and other places besides Quanti over the years that you fished?
I suppose we did. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll say yes.
Yeah. And for instance, did you do that in Narragansett?
Yes.
Anybody's yard in particular that you remember?
Yeah, Attorney General Jim O'Neill.
Did you get arrested?
No, sir, I had to give him fish though.
Oh, okay, all right. So you had his permission, right? Yeah. And when you go across backyards, is that kind of the custom? People would want you to give them a fish?
We'd always drop a fish to him, right?
Yeah. So they knew you were walking across their yards.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be dressed the way we were dressed. We're breaking into houses carrying a 10-foot rod.
Yeah. So you were doing it with permission.
Yes.
Objection. That calls for a lot of speculation on the part of the homeowners.
No, he said yes. Whether he had permission or not, he said yes. That's his answer. He had permission.
Allow it.
And people appreciate the fish when you left it for him?
I'm sorry?
Did people appreciate the fish when you left it?
Oh,
for him?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'd fillet him. Just leave the fillets.
So you would fillet it for him too?
Sure.
Yeah. Did you fillet fish for Jim O'Neill?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions.
When you filleted fish for property owners, did they leave a cooler outside with ice so that the fillets wouldn't spoil overnight?
Jim O'Neill did.
Did anybody else?
A couple of guys on the Cape, when we fished the canal, we'd have to go through some backyards because the canal is very difficult for access, and they'd leave a cooler with ice.
Now, there were certainly yards you crossed over where you didn't leave a fish at the end of the night, correct?
If we didn't get a fish, we didn't leave the fish, correct?
And there were certainly times when you released all the fish you caught and didn't keep any to give to the homeowners whose
Absolutely
yard you
correct,
crossed
sir.
through.
Yes.
Nothing further.
No further questions, Mr. Ayala. Thank you so much for your testimony. Speak it up.
Ready to go.
Be careful of these wires, sir.
Yeah.
We can leave those right on the table and start.
Okay.
Careful of the wires. Yeah. Thank you.
Members of the committee, I might just request a few minutes while we get set up for the next witness.
Okay. Sure. Take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Hey, you saw Emily at the conference.
And she shared something like
Yeah.
Ready.
I will go back on the record. And attorney for the Attorney General, please.
I'll just go ahead and I know that Mr. DiOrio testified last time we were here, but I'm gonna swear him in again. Just for good measure. Mr. DiOrio, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Alfred W. DiOrio, ALFRED, middle initial W, DiOrio, DIORIO.
Thank you.
Excellent. Can you all hear me? Push on. There we go. Good to see you, Mr. DiOrio. Julia Harvey for the Office of the Attorney General. So just to bring us back, the last time we were together, you testified on a number of maps of the Weekapaug area. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Great. So I'd like to pick up the testimony proceeding in the same fashion with a series of I'm going to approach you, Mr. DiOrio, and show you an exhibit that is marked Joint Exhibit H. Mr. DiOrio, do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
This is a plat of the property of the Weekapaug Beach and Land Improvement Company located in Weekapaug Point, Westerly, Rhode Island, scale 200 feet to the beach.
Use this just one moment. Mr. DiOrio, have you seen this map before
Yes,
today?
I have.
And where have you seen this map?
This map was provided to me by the Attorney General's office for my inclusion in my report.
The Joint Exhibit H has been stipulated to by the parties, and the Attorney General for the exhibit to be admitted in full.
Stipulated.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. DiOrio, to your right, I have here a large scale version of this exhibit. Can you confirm that this is the same map as the one marked Joint Exhibit H that I just handed to you?
Yes, it is.
Mr. DiOrio, what does this map show?
Generally, it shows the area of Weekapaug Point, which has been discussed in great detail. And as they relate the version to the south, Weekapaug Salt Pond at the north. We have roadway network to the west. There's a roadway network included as the focus of the plan, series of lots, lot numbers, etc.
And do you know the purpose of this map?
I will presume it was to depict lots for sale, briefly for sale.
And do you see the area of dispute in this matter depicted on this map?
Yes, I do.
Can you point to it? I have, you should have a small laser pointer if you could just indicate it to me on the map. Might be a little far.
What you said. Okay. So right in this area, where my laser pointer is directed, is the area in question that would be on the map between lots 17 and 18.
And this is the area that we've been referring to in these proceedings as the Spring Avenue extension, is that right?
That's correct.
Mr. DiOrio, I'm now going to show you an exhibit that is pre-marked Proponents Exhibit 21. Mr. DiOrio, do you agree that the map that I just handed to you is a close-up image of the one that you just previously reviewed, Joint Exhibit H?
Yes, I do.
And can you please describe what it shows?
So this is an enlargement of a portion of the plat you're calling Joint Exhibit H, indicating Rocky Beach to the south, Sosa Avenue, a little bit north of that, Lindenwood Avenue, Meadow, Spring, and a series of lots, which were a portion of the plat.
And do you see the area that we've been referring to as Spring Avenue Extension?
Yes, I do.
And can you describe its location?
Once again, between lots 17 and 18 on the plat where my laser pointer. Laser pointer.
How does this area on the Spring Avenue Extension compare to the surrounding lots that are depicted on the map?
So Spring Avenue Extension appears to be a portion of the road network that's associated with the plat. There are lots abutting it to the east and west. Those lots present themselves differently than the strip of property that we're referring to. Some of the lots have the lot numbers, there are dimensions on the lots. None of those appear on the strip of property that we're discussing.
And how does the Spring Avenue Extension compare to the other roadways on the map?
They appear to be similar in nature, visually, width-wise. There's no actual name for this small portion, whereas the other portions of the road network are indicated with names.
From your review of this map, what is your professional conclusion about this area that we've referred to as the Spring Avenue Extension?
This strip of property is a portion of the road network associated with the plat.
I'll just have you go back a moment. You can use your handout if you like to the Joint Exhibit H that we reviewed previously. And is there anything on this map that would indicate that this portion of the roadway that we've been talking about is private?
No.
Mr. DiOrio, I'm now going to show you an exhibit that is marked Joint Exhibit I and Proponents Exhibit 1, which was previously admitted into evidence. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
This is a map of Weekapaug Beach belonging to the Weekapaug Beach Land Improvement Company, Westerly, Rhode Island, August 27th, 1920. Scale 80 feet to an inch by Thomas Mackenzie, CE. 3 sheets. This is sheet number 1.
And have you seen this map before?
Yes, I have.
And how have you seen this map before?
This map was provided to me by the Attorney General's office for inclusion in my report.
Mr. DiOrio, you have to your right a large scale version of that exhibit, Joint Exhibit I, Proponents Exhibit 1. Can you just confirm for me that that is the same map matching the smaller exhibit I just handed to you?
Yes, it is.
And what does this map depict?
So once again, this is depicting a series of lots in the Weekapaug area. The Atlantic Ocean is to the south, Quannacontag Pond is to the north, a series of road networks, some of which are named, a series of lots.
And are you able to tell us from the markings of this map, either the larger version, which I realize is a little distance away from you, or the smaller version that you have in front of you, whether this map was recorded by the town of Westerly?
Yes, it was. But yes, I can.
And are you able to tell, I know that version is small, but are you able to tell the date that it was recorded? Or if you need to approach the larger image, would that be all right?
Absolutely.
I'll take a stab at it. It looks like September 8th. I can't make out the. Like 1921 at 11, looks like 33.
And just to confirm, Mr. DiOrio, you said 1921, is that correct?
Yes,
And as with the last map, do you see here the area in dispute in this matter, and can you point it out for me, please?
yes, I do. That would be where my laser pointer is directed. And that would be again between what is indicated as lots 17 and 18 on the plan.
Mr. DiOrio, I'm now going to show you Proponents Exhibit 2, which has already been admitted as evidence. Hopefully this makes it a little easier to parse out the details. Mr. DiOrio, do you agree that this image is a close-up of the portion of Joint Exhibit I, Proponents Exhibit 1, to which you just indicated?
I do, with the noted exception that, and it could be a reproduction issue, that on the smaller detail that you're presenting, there's some red markings. On the larger version, they don't appear as red markings, although the line work suggests that they are the same. I'll attribute that to reproduction.
Mr. DiOrio, turning to the exhibit on the easel, can you confirm that this is the same close-up image as the one marked Proponents Exhibit 2 that you just reviewed?
Yes, it is.
And can you describe what this shows?
So this is a close-up focusing on that area, 50-foot strip, that area between lots 17 and 18 on the plat, bounded by a roadway to the north and a shore to the south.
Is there anything else that you can tell from this image? In terms of dimensions or any other markings?
Well, the 50-foot strip is clearly dimensioned, so it's a number 50 between two leader lines and arrowheads. So that would be a 50-foot dimension right here where my laser pointer is directed. There's two leaders on either side, arrowheads. There are dimensions on the easterly and westerly side. Those are coincident with the lot dimensions, lot 17 and lot 18. And there are dimensions along the northerly and southerly boundary of the 50-foot strip. As best I can make it out, it looks like 55.13 to the north and 50.5 feet to the south. The lots have numbers and dimensions. There's no lot numbers on the 50-foot strip. And the roadway to the north also has a 50-foot dimension indicated by the number, the numeric value 50, and there are meters and arrowheads associated with that number.
Thank you. And so you mentioned a number of different dimensions that are depicted on this map, including the dimensions that you noted at the northern and southern ends of the roadway that we've been talking about here. Those dimensions on the northern and southern bounds, do those indicate boundaries?
No, they do not.
And how can you tell?
Well, boundaries on this particular mapping are solid, bold, solid lines. I'm pointing to the boundary line between lots 18 and 19. If you take a look at that line work associated with the numbers, 55.13 is on the north and 50.5 feet on the south, those are not continuous lines to begin with, and they're certainly not bold. And they're clearly indicated as having arrowheads and meter lines. So in my opinion, these do not represent boundary lines.
And you started to talk about this a little bit, but could you say, how does this area, this piece of the roadway, compare to the surrounding lots on the map?
Well, as I've indicated, so there are lot numbers associated with the adjacent lots, 17 and 18, I happen to be pointing at. No lot numbers in the 50-foot strip. There are dimensions, both on the lots. I'm pointing to 18 and 17, southerly dimension, northerly dimension. And we have those same kind of attributes on the strip as well.
Is that strip of land that we've been referring to as Spring Avenue Extension enclosed?
It is not.
How does the Spring Avenue Extension compare to the other roadways on the map?
Well, previously I indicated that visually they appear to be the same, but now we can see in this particular version that they're both 50 feet in width. There's a roadway that veers off to the northeast here. That one does not have a dimension on it, but again, visually it appears to be about the same. No lot numbers, not as many dimensions in the roadway area as there are on the adjacent lots.
From reviewing this map, what is your professional conclusion about the area that we've been referring to as Spring Avenue Extension?
That the 50-foot strip that we've been discussing is part of the roadway network associated with.
So going back just briefly to the exhibit marked proponents exhibit, joint exhibit I, proponents exhibit 1, which is the full version. Is there anything on this map that would indicate that this portion of roadway that you have been speaking to is private?
No.
Mr. Diorio, I'm now going to show you an exhibit that is marked as joint exhibit L and proponents exhibit 7, which was previously admitted into evidence. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
And what is this exhibit?
This is a map of Weekapaug Beach belonging to the Weekapaug Beach and Land Improvement Company, Westerly, Rhode Island, August 27th, 1920. Scale 80 feet to the inch by Thomas Mackenzie, CE, revised April 1939 by Los Angeles Engineers. 3 sheets. This is sheet number 1.
And have you seen this map before?
Yes, I have.
And how have you seen this map before?
This map was provided to me by the Attorney General's office for inclusion in my report.
And Mr. Diorio, I have placed here to your right a large-scale version of the exhibit. Can you please confirm that this is the same map as the one marked Joint Exhibit L, Proponents Exhibit 7, that you just reviewed?
Yes, it is.
And what is shown on this map?
So once again, this is the Weekapaug area of Westerly, Atlantic Ocean to the south, Quannacook Pond to the north, roadway network, series of lots. This one has some buildings. I guess there were some buildings on the other ones as well. Some buildings identified on some of the lots.
And are you able to tell us whether this map was recorded by the town of Westerly?
Yes, I can. Yes, it was.
And I apologize if the version you have is small, but can you tell what data was recorded? either on this version or on the large scale version.
Looks to be October 16th, 1939, 10:50.
And do you see on this map the area in dispute in this matter?
Yes, I do.
Could you please point it out for me?
It is where my laser pointer is indicating between lots 17 and 18 on the plat.
And Mr. Diorio, I'm now going to show you an exhibit that is pre-marked Proponents Exhibit 22. Mr. Diorio, do you agree that this image is a close-up of the portion of Joint Exhibit L, Proponents Exhibit 7 that you just reviewed?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Hartman, the Attorney General moves for the exhibit pre-marked as Proponents Exhibit 22 to be admitted in full, stipulating that this is a close-up of the previously admitted Joint Exhibit L.
No objection.
So admitted. Thank you.
Everyone all right?
I'm good.
Yeah, no, good. That's great. After a little excitement, Mr. Diorio, can you confirm for me that this large scale version that we've just placed on the easel is the same close-up image marked Proponents Exhibit 22 that you just reviewed?
Yes, it is.
Great. And can you please describe what this shows?
So this is a portion of the map that you're calling Joint Exhibit L. It's a close-up. It shows a series of lots, road network, Ninigrid Avenue to the north, shore to the south.
Is there anything else indicated on this map by way of dimensions or other markings?
Well, very similar to the last version, this has dimensions of the area in question, 50-foot strip, dimensions along the northerly portion, dimension along the southerly portion, adjacent lots with lot numbers and lot dimensions, roadway network now indicated as Ninigrid Avenue to the north, a shore to the south. And this one, because it was revised in April 39, has some additional annotations on it, dimensions. There's annotations about physical markings. This says iron pipe. Down here, there's a drill hole. I suspect that those came about as a result of the revisions by Los Angeles engineers in April 1939.
Great. So there is actually quite a lot depicted on this map. I'll just go back. You referred to some of the dimensions at the northerly and southerly points of the Spring Avenue extension. And I'll just ask again on this map, do those indicate boundaries?
They do not.
And how do you know that?
Well, for the before mentioned reasons that if we take a look at the adjacent lots, 17 and 18, where my laser pointer is directed, you'll see that those are continuous bold lines indicating the boundaries. Here, along the northerly portion of the strip in question, in the southerly portion, these are not continuous bold lines. These are dimension lines indicating that those are not boundaries.
Thank you. And so this area, the Spring Avenue extension, how does it compare to the surrounding lots?
As previously indicated, no lot numbers where there are lot numbers to the adjacent lots, 17 and 18, where I'm pointing. There is another piece of line work. Let's see, generally northerly of the southerly boundary of lot 17 and 18, as I use those as an example. I believe that that is a building setback line. You'll notice that that does not appear to be cutting through the strip in question, further indicating to me that this is not intended to be the lot, but a portion of the street network.
So you mentioned those building setback lines. What is a building setback line? What's its purpose?
Well, typically that line is the line work where buildings are generally not to intrude beyond. These buildings may have been here previously. I don't know that, but I'm pretty sure this line work is annotated on the larger version along close to the westerly boundary of the plat, adjacent to a piece of road network identified as highway.
I'll just come back to the larger version for a minute, just so we can, you can point out to us where you were referring to about the building setback lines.
Yep, along the westerly boundary, westerly portion of the project. There's some annotation on this piece of line work that I'm fairly certain talks about it being the building setback.
And so if I'm understanding your testimony correctly, you're saying there is no building set line there are building set lines on the lots, but not on the Spring Avenue extension. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in your professional estimation, why would that be the case?
Well, there would not be a building setback line in a piece of road network.
From reviewing this map and your professional estimation, what conclusion do you reach about this area that we've been referring to as the Spring Avenue extension?
That strip of property being 50 feet in width is a portion of the road network associated with.
And looking again at this full version of the exhibit, Joint Exhibit L, is there anything on the map that would indicate this portion of roadway that we've been talking about is private?
No.
Mr. Diorio, I'm going to show you an exhibit that is pre-marked Proponents Exhibit 23. You recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
What is this exhibit?
This is a boundary survey plan of Spring Avenue Extension, Westerly, Rhode Island, which Park Fire District. Gives an address of Wallalong Drive, Westerly, Rhode Island, performed by Waterman Engineering. Tough date to make out, looks like 2007.
And have you seen this map before?
Yes, I have.
And in what capacity have you seen this map?
This was provided to me by the Attorney General's office for inclusion in the.
And Mr. Diorio, I appreciate it may be hard to see on the smaller version. I have, but if you can make it out, is this plan sealed and certified by a professional land surveyor?
Yes, it is.
In your professional experience, what does the seal and certification indicate?
Well, the seal indicates that there is a professional land surveyor in responsible charge of the project. Certification I won't read it to you, but this particular certification indicates that the survey was performed in accordance with a certain class of survey. Class being generally associated with the precision of the work.
Mr. Hartman, the Attorney General would move for the exhibit to be admitted in full.
I don't have an objection.
Admitted.
Mr. Diorio, I've also placed a larger version of the exhibit to your right. Could you just confirm that this larger version is the same map as the one marked Proponents Exhibit 23 that you just reviewed?
Yes.
Mr. Diorio, what does this map show?
So this is actually the boundary survey planning of that strip of property that we've been discussing and identified as Spring Avenue Extension. It shows in a certain type of line work, lots to the east and west. It shows what is now called Spray Rock Road to the north. It indicates Block Island Sound to the south. All the dimensioning is focused on clearly the 50-foot strip being Spring Avenue Extension because that was the focus of the survey.
How can you tell what visual clues are offered to indicate that the focus of this map is the Spring Avenue extension?
So if we take a look at the line work again, so you'll notice that there's that reoccurring solid bold line along the easterly portion of the strip that we've been discussing. That same line work is evident on the westerly portion of the strip that we've been discussing. But as we move off site, if you will, there's a different line type. This might be called a phantom line. I might need to refresh myself. But you see that that line type is really there to indicate in general terms that there's a lot here. You'll notice that this boundary line, for example, is no longer solid and continuous. Instead, it's that what we'll call phantom line for the time being, as well as the frontage. And I believe he does the same thing along the northerly, let's call it northerly boundary of Spray Rock Road. So in summary, the focus here is the continuous line work on the easterly and westerly portion of that 50-foot strip we're calling Spring Avenue Extension. In addition, there are clearly annotations for the dimensions along the easterly boundary, the southerly boundary with qualification, the easterly boundary line, and the northerly boundary line with qualification.
Thank you, Mr. Diorio. And could I just to make sure that I'm clear, is it correct, is your testimony that the survey uses a different boundary line for the east and west bounds of Spring Avenue Road in order to draw the attention of the viewer?
Yes, that would be generally correct.
You mentioned certain markings at the northerly and southerly bound of Spring Avenue extension. Could you describe what those are and what they indicate?
Sure. So once again, to reiterate, solid continuous bold line on the easterly and westerly line indicating boundaries. On the northerly and southerly line, these are that what I'm calling phantom line for the time being, indicating that to me, this was not intended to be a property line. Further, the annotation on both of those lines, and here's my qualification, is that these are indicated as survey closing line. The text is just below the bearing and distance in both cases. So once again, closing line, the surveyor's way of creating a closed polygon so that a surveyor following in his footsteps can determine that the polygon closes within a certain tolerance. Not intended to be property lines, but instead they use the term survey closing line.
Thank you. Is there any other description within the area labeled as Spring Avenue Extension on this map?
I'm sorry, the question again was.
I'm so sorry. Is there any additional detail authored on the map in the area labeled Spring Avenue Extension?
Yes, there are a number of what I'll call planimetric features. So these are features that appear on the ground, not necessarily related to boundaries, but could still be important for the person reviewing the map. So in this particular case, there's a chain link fence following the line of my pointer, indicated by the solid line cross. I'm pretty sure the legend would identify or concur that that's intended to be a chain link fence, going almost entirely across the 50-foot strip that we've been discussing. Then there's another piece of line work. So that chain link fence is running, let me call it generally, northeast to southwest. There's another piece of line work running generally northwest to southeast. And that is not only indicated, but annotated as a wood fence. Oh, I'm sorry, there's all the annotation for chain link fences appears right here. So there are a couple of fences that are shown. There's some vegetative tree line work that's shown here. That is actually, yep, that's actually annotated as tree line typical. So that's the squiggly line. There's some riprap annotated and identified. That's this finger of what is represented to be stonework here. There's a stone wall closer to the northerly boundary where my pointer is, indicated by the continuous circles, and that is actually also annotated as stone wall. There's some edge of pavement that's indicated. There are some buildings that are identified. I think we have some driveways, a variety of planimetric features that the author felt were important to add to.
Just to be clear, Mr. Diorio, the question was asking about the area marked Spring Avenue Extension. So I just want to ask the indications you made to buildings, are those included in the area marked Spring Avenue Extension?
My apology, those buildings are off-site. They are not part of the 50-foot strip.
And how does this area labeled Spring Avenue Extension compare to the lots that are indicated on the map?
So as I previously indicated, there are dimensions associated with the easterly and westerly boundaries of this Spring Avenue extension. There are dimensions associated with the survey closing lines along the northerly and southerly portions. There are no indications of dimensions on either of the adjacent lots.
In your professional estimation, what would you attribute that to, the fact that there are no dimensions on the lots?
The focus of the survey is the 50-foot strip known as Spring Avenue Extension.
And how does the Spring Avenue Extension compare to the other roadways indicated on the map?
Well, again, there are clear annotations as to boundary lines, both on the easterly and westerly boundaries. There's an annotation for dimensions on the northerly and southerly portions of survey closing lines. There are really no, well, there's one dimension here that looks like it might be associated with the northerly boundary of Spray Rock Road, but there are really no other indications of dimensions on any other portions of the road.
From reviewing this map, what is your professional conclusion about the status of this area referred to as Spring Avenue Extension?
That Mr. Lipsitz feels that Spring Avenue Extension is not a portion of the associated roadway.
I'll just go back a moment. When you were describing some of the features on the Spring Avenue Extension, you mentioned a chain link fence. Based on your review of the map, does the chain link fence extend across the full length of Spring Avenue Extension?
I think I indicated that it does not extend across the entirety of the 50-foot strip.
Does the existence of the fence on this map change your opinion that the Spring Avenue extension is a continuation of the road network?
No.
Is there anything on this map that would indicate that this portion of the roadway that you've been speaking to is private?
No.
If I could just have one moment to confirm. No further questions for this witness. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President.
Good evening, Mr. Fiorio. How are you tonight?
Very well, yourself.
Good to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you.
Okay, let's stick with what you have in front of you, proponents exhibit 4. And this is the exhibit you were just talking to counsel for the Attorney General's office about, correct? Exhibit, proponents exhibit 23, I'm sorry, yes, 23.
The answer to your question is yes.
Yeah. Going to approach, I'm sorry for the confusion, and hand up to you proponents exhibit 24. Close up of a section of proponents exhibit 23. Now, you were asked a moment ago if anything you saw indicated Spring Avenue extension was private, correct?
Correct.
If you look to the left-hand side of the survey, can you see the words Spray Rock Road?
At the far left of the 8.5 by 11?
Correct.
Yes,
And beneath that, it says formerly Ninigret Avenue, correct?
correct.
And beneath that, it says public, 50 foot width, correct?
Correct.
But nowhere within Spring Avenue Extension does it indicate Spring Avenue Extension is public, does it?
The word public does not. Correct.
In fact, all it says is unimproved, 50-foot width, C notes A, B, and C, correct?
Well, not exactly. Right next to that, it says right of way. Parentheses to survey closing line in a recites area.
Correct, because there's nothing about it being public, right? I'm sorry?
That is correct.
Thank you. You can put that one aside for now. We might come back to it. All right, Mr. DiOrio, forgive me. You've served as an expert witness before, correct?
Yes, I am.
And you've even served as a testifying expert before, correct?
Yes, I am.
And you've served as a non-testifying consulting expert before, right?
Perhaps.
Okay. And you're being paid by the Attorney General for your work in this matter, correct?
I have a contract that allows me to be paid, yes.
And the amount of that contract is $2,500, correct?
That is correct.
And you're a professional land surveyor, right?
Yes, I am.
And you're serving as an expert witness for the AG in this matter on the issue of professional land surveillance, correct?
My scope is the review of existing plats of record.
But you didn't do any independent research for plats of record. You simply reviewed what the Attorney General's office provided to you, correct?
That is correct.
You did not, for example, conduct your own survey of Spring Avenue Extension, correct?
I did not.
And as part of your expert opinion in this matter, you conclude the Spring Avenue extension is not a quote lot, correct?
That is correct.
You do not conclude or opine whether Spring Avenue extension was ever dedicated to the town of Westerly, correct?
Outside of my scope.
That would be outside your scope.
That is correct.
And it's also it would be outside your scope to conclude that the town owns Spring Avenue extension, correct?
Also correct.
And you do not conclude the town has an easement over Spring Avenue extension either, correct?
That is correct.
Now, the 1939 plan, which is Proponents Exhibit 7. You have it in front of you, I see. Was simply a revision of a plan originally dated 1920, correct?
That is correct.
It's therefore not a wholly new plan by its own terms, right?
I would agree with that.
Now, on this Proponents Exhibit 7, do you see what appears to be highlighting?
Yes, in the yellow tint.
Correct.
Yes.
Are you aware if there were highlighters in 1939? Withdrawn. The only portion of this map that has that yellow tint is Spring Avenue north of Ninigret Avenue, correct?
That is correct.
Are there any markings on this 1939 plat that relate to Spring Avenue extension that don't already exist on the 1920 plan, which is exhibit number 1, Proponents Exhibit number 1?
So this would be this, just to be clear, this would be the same plan dated August 27th, 1920, sheet 1 of the 3 sets.
Correct.
And your question again was?
The question is there any change to the markings on Spring Avenue extension between the 1920 plan and the 1939 revised plan?
There do not appear, with the qualification that you recall I made some reference to the red line work that I was attributing to reproduction. So that appears on the 1920 plan. I don't really see that on the April 1939 plan. Again, it could be reproduction.
Thank you. The 1939 revised plan does not add new roads to the subdivision shown in the 1920 plan, correct?
Does not appear to add new roads.
Thank you. And the 1939 revised plan does not add new lots to the subdivision shown in the 1920 plan either, does it?
Well, with the caveat that I'm not reviewing every single piece of line work, it appears to be the same number of lots.
Understood and accepted. Are you aware of the 1939 deed of Spring Avenue north of Ninigret to the town of Westerly?
I am not.
I'm going to approach and hand the witness Proponents Exhibit 6.
Objection, this is out of scope of the expert's testimony.
Well, the expert was brought here to opine on the meanings of markings shown in the 1939 plan. The 1939 plan was recorded months after a deed of a certain portion of Spring Avenue to the town, which does not include Spring Avenue extension. And it's therefore relevant to his testimony. Whether or not the Attorney General's office cared to show it to him is not the district's problem.
I think if you're going to go in this direction, you have to lay a little bit of foundation for Mr. Diorio being able to testify to this.
Mr. Diorio, in your practice as a land surveyor, do you ever review deeds of property from one party to another?
Of course.
And deeds oftentimes include meets and bounds descriptions of parcels or other land objects that are conveyed by the instrument, correct?
That is correct.
And how many deeds would you say you reviewed in your career?
Thousands.
And if you were told that the highlighted portion of proponents' own Exhibit 7 also related to a deed that was given a few months before that plat was recorded, would you find that relevant to your findings regarding what the plat means?
No,
Why not?
because my scope is focused on the line work of the plats. I didn't review any deeds. Wasn't my intention to review deeds. I wasn't provided any deeds. So a review of a deed, when my only direction was to review the line work on the recorded or provided plats, respectfully, it would be a little bit out of order.
So then in what context would your review of thousands of deeds have impact on your work in the land survey?
I'm not clear on the question.
You testified a moment ago that you reviewed thousands approximately of deeds in your
Sure.
career as a land surveyor, correct?
Sure.
If you're only concerned about the line work on a survey, why review any deeds?
I didn't say it was my concern. That was my direction. Mr. Diorio, please review the line work on the plat. We're not going to give you any deeds. I don't expect you to review any deeds. Doesn't mean that I don't know about deeds, only that I wasn't asked to review any.
You weren't asked to review any.
That is correct.
Understood. And so we renew our request that the witness be allowed to review Proponent's Exhibit 6, which is a deed of Spring Avenue north of Ninnegrit, dated 1939, so that he may answer certain questions about the Proponent's Exhibits 1 and 7 that relate to, per the testimony of their prior expert, William Priestley, the 1939 deed from the Beacapog Beach Company to the town of Westerly, Spring Avenue.
The town of Westerly would object. Mr. Fogg said exactly right. Mr. Priestley had one task, which he fulfilled. Mr. Durio had another task, which he fulfilled. They were separate, scope was separate, the relevancy of the documents is separate. There's nothing in the foundation, just because Mr. Durio has looked at a lot of deeds. There's nothing in the foundation to show that the meets and bounds description of that highlighted portion north of the land that's in dispute has anything to do with any of his findings, which had a very specific purpose. So now that we've heard the attempt at the foundation, I think it points out that it's even more irrelevant. So therefore, town of Westerly would object.
Attorney Farside, I'm tending to agree with the town on this. I think that this is something that you would need to present your own witness on. This is outside the scope of this witness's testimony. And the foundation, I don't know, has been made at this point for him to be able to testify on this.
Understood, and thank you. As long as the subcommittee understands the document was not shown to him by the Attorney General's office as part of his scope. Now, the 1939 plan, Proponent's Exhibit 7, doesn't make any visible revisions to Spring Avenue Extension and its intersection with Ninnegrit Avenue, correct? As compared to the 1920?
They appear to be the same.
Right. And the mere depiction of a road or way on a recorded plan doesn't automatically make those roads or ways public, does it?
Did not say that.
In fact, none of the images, surveys, or other documents you've relied upon in connection with formation of your expert opinions in this matter anywhere expressly state that Spring Avenue Extension is, quote, public, correct?
That is correct.
None of the images or other documents relied upon in connection with formation of your expert opinions in this matter show that Spring Avenue extension was cleaned of stumps, correct?
That would be correct.
Nor do they show the Spring Avenue extension was cleaned of rocks, correct?
That would be correct.
Nor do they show the Spring Avenue extension was cleaned of roots, correct?
Correct.
Nor do they show the Spring Avenue extension was cleaned of other superfluous or objectionable material, correct?
That would be correct.
Nor do they show that work in terms of excavation and embankment was brought to an adequate subgrade within Spring Avenue extension, correct?
That would be correct.
And they do not show the corners of the Spring Avenue extension at its intersection with Nitigrit were rounded in any way, correct?
That would be correct.
And they certainly do not show that granite bounds were set at all angles, curves, and corners within or about Spring Avenue extension itself, correct?
That would be correct.
Just a moment for, ask the subcommittee for a moment to confirm,
Okay.
please. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. DiOrio, for the indulgence. One last question. There are other reasons to record a plat like the 1939 plat, other than to dedicate roads thereon as public, right?
Objection beyond the scope of the witness's direct testimony.
Mr. Forsythe, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think it's well within the scope. AG's counsel asked numerous times if anything on the plat or map indicated that the Spring Avenue extension was so-called private.
Can you go ahead and rephrase your question?
Are there reasons to record a plat like proponents exhibit step? Other than to effectuate a dedication of the roads thereon to the public?
Objection to the reason previously stated. This witness has given no testimony at all about the legal meaning of dedication. They're very specific. He was inquired on very specific opinions. None of them dealt with dedication.
We understand the witness has a very limited scope, and therefore we'll withdraw the question and we'll reserve it for our own expert on title matters and our expert on land surveillance. I have no further questions. Appreciate it, Mr. DiOrio.
Thank you, Attorney Forsythe.
And we have no further questions.
Thank you, Attorney Harvey.
Perfect.
I just want the record to reflect that fire district is not the reason we aren't going to use the entirety of the scene as we typically are blamed.
Any other witnesses to come?
So as I said, we had understood that we'd be ending at
That's fine.
8 o'clock.
Yep.
And so we informed one of our witnesses over the weekend of that. And then when we got the information today
Mhm.
that it was going to go to 9 o'clock, we couldn't get that.
That's okay. So we've addressed the witnesses that you intended to bring this evening.
Yes, we did,
It's
Mr.
fine. Okay. Anything else come before us then this evening?
No, sir.
All right. How are we gonna do this? We don't have another date, Leah, do we?
No, I have 3 dates available for discussion for folks moving forward, but not anything scheduled as of yet.
All right, so and you'll send it out to people? We'll do it that
Or
way?
we can discuss at the close of this meeting, which of those dates works best for everyone, or whatever you'd like to do.
Well, what's the pleasure of the parties? Do you want to set our next date?
I think we're all here, maybe we could
Well.
find action on.
All right. I'm gonna step out to my car, so let's take a 2-minute break. I just need to get my calendar. All right, everyone, we'll go back on the record just to get our continued date. Leah, what were the two that you had indicated?
Thursday, May 14th and Tuesday, May 19th.
Repeat those, Leah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thursday, May 14th and Tuesday, May 19th.
I can't do 14.
19. How's May 19 for everyone? Tuesday, May 19.
That worked for the district.
That works for the Attorney General. We're just checking with the components.
That doesn't mean. And I had, yeah, the 19th of the work, I indicated that. like,
Yeah.
A while ago. In fact, I think I did a little motion on that, sorry.
The other one's the 14th.
Yeah, it doesn't work for
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Reynolds.
The limitations here are the building. I had discussed with Don, who's the sort of manager here, which dates is available for the month of March, and then after polling the subcommittee, those were the dates that everyone was available, so we will push out into June. I will perform this sort of measure, so figure out which days the subcommittee are available and which days the senior sector is available, and then we'll have to move from there.
Yeah, let's do that.
But, there'll be short witnesses, you won't think.
We'll figure it out.
Right, yeah.
It'll make progress.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we would, if I may, we can arrange, I think we can probably arrange our witnesses in such a way to make that work.
The night,
Make the 19th.
In other words, witnesses that I'm not involved.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
make it work. So,
Just to keep going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. 5 o'clock.
and we'll go to 9, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Although I think there'd only be 2 witnesses.
We'll work on that.
We may not fill it out.
Not a problem.
And, I'm hoping that I'd like to have some counsel here to represent Caroline Contrada. I
Okay.
believe I can arrange substitute counsel.
Okay.
Because we're not heavily involved in them, those 2 particular witnesses.
Okay.
Would we be able to schedule yet a further night? And that way I could definitely prepare for that.
The issue there is that in terms of this space.
Right.
The schedule I was given runs through May 22nd. So I have to confer with the space again before I can provide more dates that are available.
But we'll do it before the next hearing.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. Anything else to come before us?
I just wanted to just confer briefly, and I don't think the members of the subcommittee need to be here, just with Mr. Hartman and Mr. Forsythe and Ms. Vega about a housekeeping matter about exhibit designation.
Does it need to be on the record or we
It
can?
doesn't need to be
Okay.
on the record.
All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.